Guys, how are you? I spent most of my night going through a couple of videos on YouTube, and I have to say, I cannot believe what my eyes showed me on Twitter and some YouTube content creators. What do people want? What do people actually want? Like, seriously. Oftentimes, you ask yourself some questions and you're like, there are no answers because it's very hard to actually understand what people want. Yes, this is not my normal type of content to create, but I'm actually bothered. I'm triggered, bothered, and I cannot believe what I was seeing. So, how do you go after someone like Mr. Beast, white savior? How do you do that? How? So, most of you are angry that Mr. Beast is making content while helping people and profiting off it. Are you serious? Where do you think he's getting that money from? Because last I checked, I don't think Mr. Beast is born into a Rockefeller family or one of those families that have generational wealth. So how do you expect him to actually get that kind of money to help on a mad scale? Well, I'm actually too far with this. How many YouTubers are actually earning close to what he's earning, and what are they doing exactly what he's doing? As an African, born and raised in Africa, I am very perplexed. This guy's net worth is not even more than 500 million US dollars, unless I'm mistaken. We have over 46 billionaires in Africa. 46 and still counting. Which means if we have 46 billionaires in Africa, how much work are they putting back into their own people? Billionaires. Now, these are just in Africa. We have other Africans who are born in other countries, but they are of African descent, and they're also billionaires. But how much work are they putting back in Africa? How much? For you to start complaining that a white person is actually coming to save Africa, it's ludicrous. It's crazy. How do you have a problem with someone doing good? You don't understand. I don't think some of these people complaining have actually watched enough videos of this guy. I actually think they've just jumped off one video and made conclusions. And even that video, there is nothing wrong with it. Because if someone goes ahead to build 100 wells, 100 wells, that's a lot. That's a lot. I know we don't want to agree and admit to our problems. As African people, we have that pride. But guys, the reality stands. The reality of the situation is we need help. You might not need help, but there is a lot of people who need the help. I don't see those people complaining. I don't see them complaining. Let me tell you this. I don't see many African people. I'm not saying as Africans we are not doing any kinds of charities. We are. But there is a whole difference when someone is doing it on a mass level. On a mass level, it means they get to help a lot of people. They get to assist and change a lot of lives. I run one charity a year because I can't afford to run more than that one charity a year. Because even the other charities I do them on a very small scale, feeding a few people here and there, educating a few people here and there, very few, not even more than 20. 20 people is very small. It's very, very small. Now, even the charity we do once a year together, me and the guys who watch me on my channel, we feed 50 to 100 families. Now, help me understand, how is it a bad thing if someone is coming down and providing clean, safe water to hundreds and hundreds of people? How does that make that person a white savior? So if it were a black guy, would you like react any differently? You actually don't, I don't think you don't understand the problems that Africa really has. Some of you just read about them in paper and you think, oh yeah, we do have water, but accessibility is really low. I've been to villages whereby they have one well or one borehole, an entire village, and different people have to walk different distances to access that water. But if someone came and actually was able to pump water in different locations closer to them, wouldn't that make a difference? We come here and we pretend, yes, we have this, yes, we have this in Africa. We have these things, but we don't have the means to access them. We have very clean water in our grounds, but the cost to actually extract that water is too high. People don't have money. They don't even have access to the technology to actually do that without causing effect. But if someone is actually doing something about some of these things, how can that be a problem? How? You think we don't have rich people in Africa? Very many rich people in Africa. We have very many. We have so many. December is here. If you want to understand that people in Africa are rich, let's start with my country, Uganda. This is December, right? December, people start booking parties as early as now, as I speak, whereby we have party entries where it's going to cost them, what, 6 million to get entrance for a party. 6 million. Can you imagine? How much is 6 million? How many dollars are those? The dollar is at 3.7. 3.7 times what? About $4,000? How much is that? 3.7 times 4,000. Yeah, that's too much. Oh, 3.7, sorry, times 1,800. Around 1,500, I guess then. So if someone is spending $1,500 as just entrance for a party, that $1,500 can extract 2 wells. 2 wells. 2. But someone is using it as entrance for a party, and this person is not going alone. The place will be packed. This is entrance, no drinks, nothing. You have people having tabs in December for close to that $4,000 I told you. $4,000, $5,000 as a tab for drinking alcohol. I have nothing against drinking, because oftentimes I occasionally drink. But I want you to understand, if you have someone who has a net worth of almost 500 million US dollars, but they make their content around giving out that money, trust me, that guy can't be so bad. I don't know any African man, no offense to my African people, I don't know any African man who has a net worth of even just 200 million US dollars and they don't have multiple women, multiple children here and there. You know, as Africans, half the time, no offense, when we run into such money, the way we think is different. I'm not saying that we are not developmental, but the biggest majority is not. We are developmental, but at the same time, we think about ourselves first. You find it's very rare, because I've seen this guy. Did you restart? Who? It's okay.
It's not fine.
No, I didn't restart. It's not fine. It's not fine. I don't know what's wrong with it. Maybe it's having mood swings. Is that the time of the month for the system to have mood swings? Guys, I've watched Mr. Beast's videos, and I have to admit to myself, we do need to do more for our people. We need to think different. We kind of need to do more. Obviously, it's pressing having a foreigner coming to help you. It's pressing. It goes without saying. Because we have that kind of pride that it would be if we could help ourselves. But we are in position to actually help ourselves. It's just that we don't prioritize that. We don't. The truth is, some of you, even most people in my own Africa, there are locations of your own country you've never been to, you've never even heard of. And if you even happened to go into some of these locations, you would be shocked. You'd be wondering, do people who live like this still exist? Do you know that there are locations in my own country whereby 6 people are going to bed? They are closing their doors and windows, and they are going to bed by 6 o'clock in the evening. But these are things that used to happen back in the early 2000s. Because of the developments that have actually come, people no longer sleep at 6. They have things to do, but these people don't. There are locations whereby people are still sleeping under grass, thatched houses, mud houses, you know. They are here, and there are many. And there are many. There are people who still have no access to even basic necessities, to even medication. There are many. There are so many. So I want you to understand that if someone comes out of wherever they come from, whatever color they carry, if they are willing to help, let them help. Especially if they have nothing, they're not coming. Because what I know, most of our people, they only come to help us. Our own people only help us when they have motive. They want to get into politics, you know, so they use the people around them. They try to help them pretentiously. Then they get into politics and stop helping. They forget completely about these people. They come make empty promises. Then they start stealing the little taxpayers' money that's actually given out to them. And these are the same people who are quick to complain when someone is solving the problems they've created. Because how can you tell me that someone coming to build wells, to get people to actually see again, to help the people who are disabled to actually have access to what are those legs called? Those plastic legs, I don't know. I'm not. How is that a bad thing? How is that a bad person? I don't care if that person is actually using that for views. It's okay. Because a lot of people are actually doing worse for views, and they're not even helping anyone. A lot of people are lying, scamming, and scheming. And they have views. They have followers. People are doing a lot of bad stuff on the internet. And they have views. How are you not talking about these people? We need help. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's the truth. As Africa, we need help. If we didn't need help, we wouldn't have so many of our brothers and sisters going to the Arab world to be enslaved. We wouldn't. Half of these people who are going are well educated, you know, but they have no jobs down here. The way of life is really bad. Why do we pretend just because you're okay doesn't mean that the whole country and the whole African continent is okay? That's the selfishness I talk about. Because many people only think about themselves, you know? Oh, me as Doreen, if I'm okay, I don't care about anybody else. If they've eaten, if they have a roof over their head, if they have medical, anything, I don't care. They don't care. It's that hypocrisy. It's the selfishness of these people. Oh. It's the selfishness. These are the same people who look at leaving Africa as an opportunity to, you know, a fresh start. It's not a bad thing to leave Africa, but what are you doing for the people you left back home? Are you adding to the oppression that already exists? I was here and I remembered the number of people that died in 2020 in November. The number of people that were murdered and killed by the same people who promised to protect them and take care of them. And then you come and preach to me how it is pretentious. Wow. It reminds me of that thing where people get along with my sibling, only else is allowed to pick on my sibling. How different is what you're doing compared to what the other person would do? So because you're doing it, it's okay? Man, we have a lot of people here. Maybe I should bring you a list of some of the people that actually do a lot of good in Africa. I should bring you a list. I actually should, you know? I should. Because most celebrities or African Americans, majority of them, they come to Africa here to make pledges and promises of things they never fulfilled. I wonder, did Kanye West build that hospital he some people in which part of Uganda? Did he actually build that hospital? You know, he came here to take photos with African kids who are... Now, let me understand. I'm not bashing because I don't know how people understand or think. But Kanye came to Uganda sometime. I don't know, was it in 2019, 2020? He came to Uganda and visited a bunch. I know he probably gave out a bit of money here and there. But then his idea of charity was giving a bunch of Yeezys to kids who are barefoot. What are they going to use those Yeezys for? Before you do any charity, understand the community you're trying to help. Find out what are their problems. Because for most of these people, walking barefoot is a problem. It's not. It's normal for them. Me who is speaking to you from the age of 1 to 5, I wore shoes as a child. And it was perfectly fine. It's not that I didn't have shoes. They were there. But because majority of my friends didn't wear shoes, it was fine. It was never a problem. So we always moved about without shoes and we played in mud and we ran around. You know, I grew up in a community where only a few people had access to water. We had wells. These vloggers are misleading you. These vloggers are misleading you. They're misleading people. I'm not saying we don't have these things. We have them, but how do we have them? Do you know what it means to have to move miles and miles to go and fetch a jerrycan of water? Some of you talk about these things you don't know. Some of us have actually lived these lives. We have lived these lives. Where you have to move miles to just collect and fetch water. So you have to do those routes over and over again. If someone, and it's not that we don't have water in our ground, we actually do, but the cost of extracting water from the ground. So these vloggers, when someone is like, do you people have access to water? We do have access to water in Africa, but how do we have access to water? How? We have locations to this day that they don't even have a borehole, one borehole like this. They have streams of water, and if you look at the type of water they are using, it's saddening. You can't even use it. You can't. These swamps, when they have water, so that when the water is moving and it clears out, that's the water they are using. So just because you in your particular village, you do have a borehole or some kind of well or stream, doesn't mean that every other village in your country actually have that. There are places, I've been to a place in Western Uganda, whereby their water was so dirty and it was normal for them. That's the type of water they are fetching and using. And they are cooking, and the food comes out when it's brown. Brown. Imagine you buy white posho, you mingle it, and it's ready to be eaten, but it's brown. It's brown. We have water, but we don't have full access to water. I don't think you understand. So, you people who are here claiming, vlogging, making those TikToks, some of you, I feel like you are, I don't want to say a word that will insult you, but some of you are so unaware. You are so unaware. You've barely moved around your own countries to even understand what problems you have as a country. So for you, you think where you are, if you have something, everybody else has it. Just because you can see, you don't care about the problems of the blind. You're like, oh, I can see, my eyes are fine. My eyes are fine. So when someone actually goes to help the blind, you have a problem with it. We could have fixed it. How long have these people been living in these situations? And who has actually gone out of their way to help? You know, a lot of us, we don't have the means to help, even if we want to help. I do one charity here, December, the general one, where we collect and feed 50 to 100 families. We are feeding them, and the food we are giving them will last them maybe 3-4 days. 3-4 days. But imagine if we actually were able to find a way of giving them the means to feed themselves consistently. Because you'll find some of these people, they have land, but they don't have the seeds to actually plant on these soils. Some of them are too old to even do the farming for themselves. They don't have the means. But you are so comfortably telling every other person that, oh yeah, we are fine. Me, I know you don't even have to go very far. There are parts of Mukono district here where people don't have access to water. They don't. They don't. Wakiso district. Move through. The districts are big. Move. Move around. Stop just living in the cities of these places. Move. See how people actually live before you start complaining about someone coming out to help, that you could have done it yourself. When you are so busy helping yourself and helping your family, you think you're going to think about anybody else. Most of you are not thinking about anybody else. There, you're not. You're not. It was so saddening. It was actually saddening. Because I know for sure, I know people. Just into a view.
Box tekali steady.
Wedda nga tekagwa. Tereza ensawo etunula eri ku kisenge. Ofune stability. Otherwise it's going to keep disturbing you. No, like this. Turn the bag like this. Ate ekitadde wansi. Ebadde gyaterera nga yeesigamye the other side. Ezo box files are unstable. That's why it's not stable now. My lunch break is nearly done. I just wanted to understand, why do people have a problem with someone? Does it matter who is helping, or is it the help that should matter? So if Black people are coming down and maybe building those 100 wells, you'd not have a problem with it. Because when someone who is not Black is doing it, you think they're trying to colonize you. Yet, you are colonizing yourselves. I don't see you people complaining about the bad politics in Africa, because that's where all the problems are coming from, the bad leadership. So you think, I always say this, you think person coming down to help is where you draw the line. Oh, my fellow African people, we are very unserious, and in many ways, we need, I don't know what we need, but we need to get over ourselves. We need to get over ourselves. So, if the child that you're worried about, that the child is going to constantly grow up thinking that a white person has to save them, what have you done to save this child, for the child to change their mindset? If you're so worried about the child thinking about the white person saving them, that it's not right, save the child. So teach the child by actions. This child has been drinking dirty water for as long as they can remember, and then a white dude shows up out of nowhere, extracts a well for them and gives them very clean water. Obviously, they are going to think, oh my God, it's the white guy that came and saved us. Because it's the reality of the situation. You can't we are living in a world where not only the white people are rich, black people are rich too. This is not the colonial times. Yeah, even in the colonial times, black people were rich. But from time immemorial, as rich black people, what do we actually do? Every single time we do, what do we do for ourselves? What do we do? What do we do? When we come here and tell you guys, let's do this, let's try and help here and there, let's try and do this for somebody or for people, well, you bash us. You find ways to make us feel like what we are doing doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, I would like to think it doesn't matter where the help is coming from, as long as the help is coming. As long as the help is coming. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't. If you think it should matter, then you have to go out of your way and fix the things that you think are a problem, or you don't think they are a problem because they are not affecting you. For some of us, the reason we do some of these things is because we've grown up in situations like that and we see things like that. Me, I move a lot. I've moved through this entire country and I've been to villages you'd never believe. I've been to places you'd never believe. We need help. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but we need help. We need help in many aspects as a continent. We need help. Just because you guys are only stopping in the cities. And yes, I've seen these videos. I've seen these videos of the Africa they don't show you. But even the Africa they show you is true. It's true. I'm not saying only Africa needs help. I know even the Western world needs help. I know you guys are not so well off as you portray it on the internet. I know you need help. I know you need help. But for me, I think the type of help we need is to increase access. We have the things we need. We just don't have access to them. We have water, but we can't access it. So how do we access it? By building wells, boreholes, stuff like that. We have food, but how do we have access to food? By helping people get back into the farming industry, by giving them enough seeds, enough organic seeds to grow, encouraging them and maybe educating them. We have space where these hospitals can go. We have people who are educated in the medical industry, but then how do we access this medical help? By someone building a hospital for people, putting in place these things. As Africans, that's the type of help we need. Stuff like that, We have everything we need, but we have no access to these things. You are a TikToker or a YouTuber who is recording a video of water saying we have water. How many people are using that well that you're recording? Because you want to convince the rest of the world how well we have it. You probably waited or went so early or went so late to record that video to show people that we do have clean water. because there was a long line of so many people. So many people. And if you are lucky and in your village you have more than 2 boreholes, 2 wells, good for you. But there are people who don't have that, whereby 2 villages or 3 villages, and these are big, they're using 1 borehole. Isn't that true? Have you been to villages? Don't you see these things?
Yeah.
There are many. There are people who don't even have water at all. They don't even have boreholes at all. They are waiting for water that's flowing on the ground openly. Where is that water coming from? Just because it looks clean, doesn't mean it's clean. Stop misleading people. Stop misleading the world. Anyway, let me go back to work. My lunch break is done. It was nice hanging out with you for a bit. I was just a bit upset about these people, some of these people acting all high and mighty. Whatever this guy, Mr. Beast is doing, I have no problem with it. Actually, I think he should continue doing what he's doing, because trust me, even if you change one life a day, you don't need to have 500 million US dollars as your net worth to change a life. Do one life, just one. Just one. It makes a difference. It makes a very big difference. Anyway, let me go back to work. Ofachi Nancy.